York is one of the world's most dynamic cities. It's also home to a flourishing Japanese food scene, more than 1,000 restaurants and counting. Japanese food is especially popular among health-conscious people because it's low in calories and nutritious. Outside of Japan, there are some 89,000 Japanese restaurants. The number has more than tripled in the last decade.
Yeah, we love Japanese food.
Rice is an indispensable part of this cuisine. Japanese people have tried many different ways to make this simple grain more delicious. One man is working to create a new trend in the Japanese rice industry. He's 82-year-old Keiji Saika, and he's been involved in the rice business for nearly 7 decades. In January 2016, Saika announced a project that astonished many people. It's called the world's premier rice venture. The goal is to create the world's most delicious and nutritious rice. The estimated price for this rice will be an unheard of $100 per kilogram. That's 30 times more than the conventional variety in Japan, making it the most expensive rice in history. The plan is to sell only 2 tons of this record-breaking grain in May. Top-notch Japanese restaurants and department stores have already made orders.
料亭がね、早速その使おうと言うてくださるしね、これもね、大きななんていうか支えになりますね。
Join us for a closer look at Saika's mission to increase the global appeal of Japanese rice as he maintains and even improves its unrivaled quality. Paris, France. In November 2015, people gathered for a festival promoting Japan's spirit and culture. Samurai Japon. The event was organized by a Japanese NPO, staffed mainly by people working in the media and with close ties to France. Up to 8,000 people took part and experienced Japanese culture, such as Japanese dance performances, donned kimonos, and tried out Japanese toys. This was the 12th Samurai Japon event in Paris. But it was the first time visitors were able to enjoy free, freshly made samples of Japanese rice. It's part of a major push to help more people understand the deliciousness of this staple. Visitors enjoyed freshly made samples.
Ah, il est très très bon. Il a beaucoup de goût, même naturellement, comme ça, sans rien. J'ai beaucoup aimé.
C'est vraiment très bon, c'est vraiment très original. C'est pas ce à quoi on a l'habitude, c'est pas le goût qu'on a l'habitude de manger en Europe.
A Japanese rice company set up this stall.
ちょっとびっくりするぐらい皆さんの評価が高いんで、今まであんま経験したことがないぐらいの手応え感じてます。
This Japanese grocery store is popular with French people. The rice company also organized a marketing event here to lure in customers. They brought rice cookers from Japan and offered visitors steaming hot samples. People in France use rice in salads or other dishes, often covering it with sauce. They're not accustomed to consuming it all by itself. The company believed that if French people had the chance to eat freshly cooked Japanese rice, they'd understand its appeal. The plan was a success, and in just 2 days, the company sold all 100 bags they'd prepared. The company aggressively promoting the appeal of Japanese rice is called Toyo rice. Keiji Saika established the company in 1961. It makes milling equipment that can process harvested rice into an easy-to-eat food. Polishing rice involves taking the rough grain and turning it into the well-known white variety. All over Japan, farmers harvest rice plants from their fields. Then the husks are removed to free up the brown rice. And then those grains are loaded into polishing machines to make white rice. Saika's firm started out as a polishing company and expanded to handle everything up to the distribution of rice. And so his lunchtime routine involves checking cooked rice that was milled at the company that day. Saika focuses his attention on texture, taste, and fragrance. If the rice isn't milled perfectly, it won't be cooked to his standard.
Mm. 炊き方がね、上手に炊いてるか、そうでないかをね。
毎日食事の時。
Saika took over his father's rice polishing business at the age of 15. Over the last 67 years, he's nurtured the expansion of the family business. It now has 170 employees. And Saika works alongside them, refusing to take an office, even though he's president. In his mid-30s, his company was gaining a reputation in rice polishing. But he wondered if the practice was actually beneficial for consumers.
我々はその白米を食べてるんだけれども、これもよくよく見ると白米というのは白い米やからね。ということは何のことはない。我々はその玄米の、健康になる部分のぬかを取ってしまったカスロの米を食べてるんやと。
Brown rice still has the outer bran layer, which is rich in nutrition, but the bran is hard to digest. That's why people prefer the polished white variety. It's easy to eat. But the milling process removes the nutrition.
健康になるのにいかんところで玄米食を始めましたんでね。ところがもう3日ほどするとね、お腹の調子が悪くなってしまって、まあこんなことではいかんと。でまあ大体食べにくいですわ、まずいしね。もうそれで玄米食を諦めて、その代わりなんかそのぬかのその部分をですね、この白米の部分に残すことできないかということでしごしご研究を始めたんですよ。
Saika wondered if he could make a product that combined the deliciousness of white rice with the nutrition of brown rice. He threw himself into developing a new milling technology. Saika focused on the thin, highly nutritious, and easy digestible part of the bran layer, which is completely removed. He wanted to find a way to keep just a thin part of it. However, that layer is only 0.01 millimeter. People said keeping it during the polishing process was impossible. But Saika was determined to take on this impossible challenge. He came up with a variety of ideas for treating the brown rice before it was processed. He tried soaking the rice in water or steaming the grains, but that didn't work. He kept trying different approaches, but he couldn't get the results he wanted. Whenever he tried removing the bran, he took away the whole layer, including the nutritious lower thin layer. Saika went back to the design of the rice polishing machine, the heart of his business. This is the core of the machine. It has a curved metallic part. Once brown rice is put in, the grains flow into this area and are rubbed against each other. The rubbing happens over and over again until the bran layer becomes thinner. Saika thought he could improve this mechanism so it would strip off the bran layer more accurately. He thought that if the angle of the metallic part sloped gently, the collision between the grains wouldn't be as aggressive, so the amount of husk worn off in one collision would be reduced. Saika repeatedly changed the angle. It took him 5 years to create a rice milling machine that takes away the unnecessary bran covering while leaving the nutritious 0.01 millimeter bottom layer. The upper image is the core of the improved rice miller. The angle was changed to 167 degrees from the original 145. The difference of just 22 degrees produced a dramatic effect. This new method has completely changed the conventional rice polishing process. It removes the hard, difficult-to-digest outer layer of brown rice, but leaves the layer that is easier to digest and full of nutrition. The result is a new spin on an old staple. The layer and part of the embryo bud that looks golden remain. Saika gave the rice the brand name Kinmei Mai, which means golden sprout rice. It's been on the market for 10 years. An analytics firm tested the rice, and it found that it is more nutritious than white rice milled using the conventional polishing methods. This new rice contains 7 times the vitamin B1 white rice has, 3 times the vitamin B3, and 12 times the oligosaccharide.
天然のお米自身に持っている栄養素ですからね、それを食べて元気になり、価値のある、意義のあるお金だと思うよね。
Japan produces around 8.6 million tons of rice annually. In a country dependent on food imports, rice is one of the few agricultural products Japan is self-sufficient in for domestic consumption. This is the scene of a typical Japanese family dining just after the end of World War II. For Japanese people, rice was a symbol of happy and blissful family life. There are 3 different types of rice eaten around the world. There are long-grain indica rice and somewhat rounder japonica rice. Japanese rice, which is the plumpest, is called, appropriately, japonica rice. Indica rice isn't very sticky and has a plain taste. It works well in curry and pilaf dishes. On the other hand, japonica rice is sticky and has a slight sweetness. It can be eaten as is. Being able to cook delicious rice is a skill that comes with practice in Japan. This cooking class for beginners gives instructions on how to make delicious rice. And while it may seem simple, You have to follow the method, step by step, to be successful.
まず最初にお水を張ります。で最初はですね、軽く回して一旦捨てます。その後
Washing the rice removes the impurities on the surface and remarkably improves the taste.
でもう一度お水。
Then let the rice soak in water for about an hour. This small step will make the cooked rice plump and fresh. After that, put the drained rice in a pot with about 1.1 times the amount of water.
ここからまずは最初に強火にかけていきます。
Boil the water, then lower the heat and let the rice simmer for 10 minutes. While it's cooking, no matter how curious you may be about its progress, never open the lid. Turn off the fire when the moisture is gone. Let the rice steam for 10 minutes. Your rice is now ready.
これで芯のないふっくらした柔らかいお米が出来上がりです。
Japanese people don't spare any effort when it comes to making delicious rice. However, over the years, their eating habits have changed. And their diet has expanded to include other foods.
自分じゃ炊かないので、麺だったりパンだったらそのまま買ってそのまま食べられますけど、お米はやっぱり研いで炊いてからじゃないと食べれない部分があるじゃないですか。
Japanese are eating less and less rice with each passing year. In the last half century, annual rice consumption per person decreased by more than 50% to 56 kilograms from 118. People in the rice industry consider this a major problem. And they've come together to turn things around. Japanese rice breeders have come up with a number of ideas, and they're producing many new brands of rice. At last count, there were 500 varieties in Japan. This shop is selling 65 varieties of rice to meet the needs of customers. For example, these three are the Yumepirika brand of rice. Yet each has a delicate difference in taste, depending on the area where it was produced.
タンパク質の弾力が違うと。その違いによって食べた時の粘りであるとか甘さに違いが出てくるんですね。もう嗜好品というのが変わってきているので、日本の中でも。ですから消費者が自分に合ったものを選ぶようになっています。
The new polishing method developed by Saika is gaining attention. Some believe it will add new value to Japanese rice. What's so significant about it? One change is in the taste. This lab is researching humans' sense of taste. They compared rice refined using Saika's method to the conventional variety. These figures show the results. The testers felt the Saika milled rice had a 20% stronger taste of umami and sweetness.
今までのお米はこれぐらいのこの差かなと思ってたところ、これぐらいの差があったので、ちょっとびっくりしました。
And it's not only the taste. The health benefits of the Saika variety are also grabbing attention. Researchers are investigating a substance called LPS, which helps boost immunity in the body. They compared the amount of LPS contained in rice milled using Saika's method to conventional rice. The Saika polished rice contains 6 times the amount of LPS. LPS activates macrophage cells. which fight against various bacteria that can invade the body. Immunity is boosted when the body takes in sufficient amounts of LPS. And the theory is eating the LPS-rich rice can boost immunity.
これは食品の研究をやってる人間としてはもうやったと思いましたですね。もう日本のレベルを超えて、世界的に今問題になっている多くの疾患を予防できるポテンシャルを持ってますからね。これはすごいいいものだと思いますよ。
Professionals in Japan are becoming aware of these benefits. Staff at St. Luke's International Hospital in Tokyo are among them. Hospital personnel are quite regimented regarding the meals they serve to their patients. The food must be nutritious and lower in calories, yet still tasty and satisfying. St. Luke's officials searched for rice that met those conditions, and they found it in the variety milled using the Saika method.
ご飯の味についてはとても満足というお答えを非常に多くもらっています。
This restaurant is also serving the Saika rice to its health-conscious customers. The Tanita restaurant was opened by a weight scale manufacturer, and it's very popular among young women. The restaurant staff have created recipes for meals that are less than 500 calories, but still healthy. They decided to use Saika rice because they didn't want to cut nutrition while cutting calories.
普段食べてるものより味わいがあるっていうんですかね。淡白な感じじゃなくて、旨味があるっていうんでしょうか。なんかそんな印象を受けました。
美味しさは白米以上なんですけれども、栄養価も高くて玄米と同じぐらいっていう利点がたくさんあった点が良かったです。
The reviews of the new type of rice keep getting better. However, for Saika, this is only the first step in his challenge.
米の自由化がどんどん進めばね、外国から安い米がやってくるだろうけれども、しかし日本からもしっかり米を外国に出せばいいんじゃと。
Japanese rice should be able to compete in the global marketplace. During the last 6 years, the volume of rice exports from Japan has more than tripled. However, that still only adds up to 4,500 tons a year, roughly 0.05% of the total amount of rice the country produces annually. The Japanese rice industry has decided to make one of its overseas footholds in the United States, where interest in Japanese cuisine continues to grow. This is a Japanese food dealer in the state of Connecticut. It's selling various types of rice, but more than 90% of the rice sold at this shop is produced in California. Japanese-made rice accounts for less than 10%. California rice costs around $4 per kilogram. However, rice produced in Japan costs more than twice as much, around $9.40 a kilogram. But even though the price of Japanese rice is more than double, a movement is underway to explain its attractiveness and drum up demand. This Japanese food wholesaler in New York imports 29 varieties of rice from Japan. Recently, they have been putting greater effort into getting people to try Japanese rice.
我々のミッション、大げさになっちゃうんですけど、ミッションとしてはやっぱり日本の食材をこのアメリカ、特にニューヨークで、みんなに食べていただきたいっていうのが趣旨なので、それでしたらね、ぜひ日本の美味しいお米を食べていただきたいっていうのがそういうことですね。はい。
The company is working hard to sell its Japanese-produced rice wholesale to Japanese restaurants popular among locals. Kunihide Nakajima is the owner of a sushi shop who started using Japanese rice 2 months ago.
カリフォルニア米しか大きく流通がなかったもんですから、もうこの何十年と。なので日本のお米っていう意味ではちらほら来だしたのがこの2年ぐらいじゃないですか。
The rice milled using the Saika method is also making inroads into the American market. One of the buyers is Makoto, a Japanese restaurant in Miami. It's a well-established eatery, which had the highest revenues in 2014 of any Japanese restaurant in the US. A year ago, they switched to the rice processed using the Saika method. Chef Makoto Okuwa has always struggled with the lower humidity in America. This difference has caused the surface of the rice grains to crack, diminishing flavor. He spent time searching for a solution, and he came across Saika's rice. The thin layer that coats the rice protects it, so the surface doesn't crack, even in America, which means the taste is preserved.
Its rice itself is already established starch. Everybody loves it, everybody knows about it. I think that's more important how to serve, how to cook. Because if you bring it in, good quality product, but you don't know how to use it, it's pointless, right? I think it's, like I said, it's a balance that we need to, all of us need to support Japanese people who, or maybe who has an interest about our culture, teach them, train them, and, educate them.
Saika wants to bring out more of the potential of Japanese rice. He's decided to continue turning his attention to rice produced everywhere in Japan.
やっぱり世界ねずっと向けると結構富裕層が多いわけですよ。だから富裕層はねやはり何が大事かということになるとねやはり自分がその元気だとか若々しくいてられるとか寿命が伸びるとかねそういう健康問題であればね私ほんまにすごい価値のある食べ物やと思いますけどね。だからそれはやっぱり外国にしっかり知ってもらって慣れていくと。
世界中のみんなに知ってほしいです。
そこはやっぱりね、いかに知ってもらうかやね。
Rice produced in Japan is unlike any on the planet. Can its appeal spread from country to country? It's a challenge to take on the world with Japanese rice, one grain at a time.